Hello there, my little chicks and cocks, and welcome to another doctor-recommended gold-fried slice of your hashtag Good Afternoons with me, Mo A, and you'll see later, Andy Murray, Mo B. Now, coming up for you today, we have all manner of delicious little afternoon treats for you, but CM Punk's been tweeting, and that's always cause for a news story in these parts.
Yes, it absolutely is. Rather than Mo B, I go by Mo Money. Anyway, I'm going to tell you all about who Drew McIntyre wants to face in a huge WWE rematch. But first of all, I'm going to kick things off by talking about Nia Jax. Now, Nia Jax was supposed to be wrestling last night. Clash Champions pay-per-view. It was going to be her and Shayna Baszler defending the Women's Tag Team Why the Tag Team Championships?
It's
like I'm trying to sell you a car. They were going to be defending the Women's Tag Team titles against Liv Morgan and Ruby Riott. The Riott Squad, of course. But this was cancelled deep into the weekend. WWE, there was a report that came out like a couple of hours before the pay-per-view saying this stuff is off. And then WWE confirmed it themselves. This was scrapped, as was Bayley versus Nikki Cross. WWE confirmed it during the kickoff show, I believe, and said that these people are not medically cleared to compete and all of this stuff. Well, Nia Jax is not too best pleased about this, brothers and sisters. So the issue relating to the cancellation is that WWE knew it wasn't going to go ahead as early as Friday, according to Dave Meltzer on Wrestling Observer Radio, but they chose to advertise the matches anyway. Why? Who knows? Nia Jax retweeted the announcement that the match was off with a little thing saying lies, because she's being a scamp. And then Dave came through with a report on Wrestling Observer Radio today saying that she's not particularly happy about the company declaring her not medically cleared to compete. So the issue with this is it's believed, at the very least, not that these people have contracted the global bastard, but at least two of them have been come into contact with people who have. The whole thing just sounds like a bloody mess. Adam Cleary, what do you think? Nia Jax got beef with top brass?
Just somehow bizarre that this is not even the weirdest thing that Nia Jax has put on social media in the last 7 days. Far be it from me to park the what culture steam locomotive in the speculation station because, well, that's where everything goes to die. But Nia Jax has been very quick with the old thumbs since she returned. Obviously, there's been a few things relating to Velveteen Dream. There was something that appeared on Reddit over the weekend, which that's a rabbit hole I'm not going to be going down in an afternoon news video. But for her to now be, responding to official company statements with just the word lies, just think one way or another someone probably has to sit her down and go, look, you can't injure your Twitter as well, okay? You just need to be a little gentler with these things and just, I don't know, the whole thing makes me quite uncomfortable because obviously a match getting cancelled that late is always cause for all kinds of things to fire off, and people didn't think this and to think that. But if they knew it was on Friday and they didn't cancel it, I think I saw it was off Sunday, early evening our time, so that's incredibly late. Why they felt the need to advertise it, I don't really know. I mean, who was going to tune off? Who was going to not bother watching the Roman Reigns Uso main event because they weren't going to get to see Nia Jax versus Shayna Baszler on the undercard? I don't know. It doesn't wash with me, Andy, is about all I can say on that one.
No, get a bar of soap and scrub it up because it doesn't wash. So that'll do, I guess.
Speaking of wash,
I've
got nothing. CM Punk, he's always active on social media as well. Oh, there was a social media link. I could have done that one. Anyway, he decided to do a Q&A last night in which everybody puts questions towards him. He rifles through, picks the best ones out and gives us some answers. And usually there is something interesting in there because, well, it's CM Punk, isn't it? He's the eternal dilemma. He's the eternal question. Now, first of all, I have to say, as a man who's done numerous Q&As on very long train rides, mad respect for him being able to filter through the 500 wouldn't it be cool if WWE booked questions. He'll have no doubt got to answer a number of things about other people in the industry, other promotions, etc., etc. Now, I'm going to get straight to the headline here, and that is he was asked directly if he is finished with WWE on Fox. Obviously, they cancelled backstage during the ongoing global situation. Many speculated this would be his time with that done, but he categorically said, no. Still there. He's still He's still there. He's still working with Fox on WWE. So whether or not that leads to any projects with them down the line, we cannot currently say. But he is still there. Technically, the dream, not that one, still lives. Now, there were some other little tidbits here we can go into. He was asked whether he preferred Roddy Piper or Ric Flair. He said Roddy Piper. He thinks Okada's good. He thinks Io Shirai is neat. He criticised WWE for the TLC show where he was forced to work on the very first or second match of the card, and then he had to go make a wedding. He said that's just what they do. They could have made things easier ahead of time. The usual kind of wrestler does a Q&A kind of stuff. Nothing particularly interesting, barring him saying that he's still there with WWE on Fox.
Yeah, we all kind of assumed that when Backstage went down the drain that old chick magnet Phil Brooks would have gone with it, as he was under contract with the network and not WWE, as we were constantly reminded from WWE themselves, indeed. Yeah, I mean, you know, these Q&As are weird. Sometimes you get a cool little snippet out of them. Sometimes it's just CM Punk telling you about how much wrestling he doesn't watch. This was...
Which he did. I should point out, Andy, he did do. People asked him if he was going to watch Clash of Champions. He just said... No. So.
No. I mean, fair play. At least he's honest. That's one thing you can never criticise Punk for not being. He's always honest. Speaking of honest, Drew McIntyre.
That's close. Yeah, it's pretty good. That's all right. That's better than mine.
Sure. Honest Andrew McIntyre. There he is. Recently spoke to Vibe and Wrestling's Vicente Beltran. Apologies if I've pronounced the name wrong. I am terrible and Scottish. We talked about a number of different things, but one of the most interesting things that came out of this discussion was Drew saying that if he could face anyone in a big title match, it would be Roman Reigns, the big dog. He said he would love to face SmackDown's tribal chief to, in his words, create a dominant champion. And then he went on and put Reigns over huge. He credited him for his longevity at the top of the card and his recent change in attitude, the heel turn, of course, calling him bigger and badder than ever before, saying that he is still WWE's marquee player. Drew added that it is his current goal to reach the same level as Reigns, to prove to people that he can be a top guy like Roman Reigns, saying that a title versus title match between the two of them would be as big as it gets. Now, I think the interesting thing about this is that 2 months before SummerSlam, Drew McIntyre was asked, who would you like to face at SummerSlam? He said Randy Orton. That happened. We're now 2 months before Survivor Series. You know, I'm just speculating here, but it's the exact same situation. It's brand warfare. It's entirely possible. Would you like to see this, Adam Cleary?
I would like to see this, yes, Andy Murray. However, I'm also a big believer in that if you have that little bit of inside information, you absolutely use it to make your interviews considerably more interesting. We used to do a podcast for Defiant, and obviously, having pre-taped the episodes, I would just say what I thought was going to happen, and it was always what was about to happen. So yeah, big respect to Drew for this one. Almost as if, as you say, they've got a brand supremacy title match to start building towards in the upcoming weeks. It is almost as if that was a factor in his thinking. But I think bottom line here, Reigns versus Drew would be a sensational match. You've obviously got the story element of it being that was Roman's comeback match at WrestleMania. Drew was pretty much an afterthought and all of that. Where their careers have gone since has been drastically different. So there's a story there. They're two big beefy boys with big beefy haircuts and big beefy beards and big beefy title belts. So it ticks all the what culture boxes. I am here for this. And I'm going to turn the ooh meter up to 4.
Cool. I mean, my hot take on this whole matter is that it would be good.
Yes.
There we go. That's my analysis. Bugger off.
Well, thank you for that searing insight there, Andy Murray. Let us know what you made of all these stories. And, of course, get your own hot takes in the comments below. Of course, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Andy, they are now desperate to know where they can get you on Twitter. Tell them.
You can find me on Twitter at Andy H. Murray. The H stands for Happy Birthday, Jason Jordan. Remember that time he did the thing with the broccoli and the shopping? Kurt Angle's son? God bless.
God bless. There really is something in it for me for Adam Nicholas and Jason Jordan having the same birthday, but I don't quite know what it is. Maybe next year we'll figure it out, and I'll probably tweet about it, which you can read at Adam Cleary, CLERY, the entire What Culture Wrestling family at your disposal, night and day, like the public servants we are at What Culture WWE. But in the meantime, thank you so much for watching. Please remember to take your medication today, and we'll see you soon. Goodbye.